Gunas. The word guna in Sanskrit is a concept in Hinduism. Okay. The guna is a concept in Hinduism, Sikhism, Jainism, and many other aspects of the Hindu philosophy. It can be translated in Sanskrit as a quality, peculiarity, or attribute, or a property. Any of these terminologies, because there's never an equation to the right Sanskrit word. However, the concept is originally notable as a feature of Hinduism philosophy. The three gunas are now a key concept in nearly all schools of Hindu philosophies. There have been in the worldview that to continue to be present in all things and beings in the world is part of Prakriti. The three gunas are called Satva, which is goodness, Rajas, which is passion, and Tamas. All of these three gunas are present in everyone and everything. There is, whether you look at any aspect of life, it's present in all, nature, humans, animals, everything. The interplay of these gunas defines the character of something, someone, or the nature, and determines the progress of life as well. In the context of the philosophy, morality and understanding of the nature, guna. In abstract discussion, it also takes into consideration all the qualities which are desirable, neutral, or undesirable. However, it is assumed that the good faith to be good and divine in Indian philosophy. So does the Bhagavad Gita, as we learning in the Bhagavad Gita. In some context, it may also be a subdivision of certain species or some kind of a quality, or an operational principle or tendency of something or someone. In human behavior, the studies show guna means personality or innate nature, or the psychological attributes of an individual. Like all Sanskrit terminology, guna can be difficult to summarize in a single word. Guna appears in many ancient and medieval era and texts, depending on the contents and its meanings. The roots and the origin are from, obviously, the Vedic Shastras, the Puranas, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, Ramayana, even Ayurveda, and one more, Yoga. So if we look at this, this is just we have all the references from all these scriptures that we have. In the Mahabharata, it looks at book 6, chapter 2, where the gun simply comes in the meaning of implying amantran as a subdivision. In the Sanskrit treatise on food and cooking, guna means quality, tendency, and nature of ingredient. And certain, the Maitrayanya Upanishad, which is one of the most earliest texts, also makes an explicit reference to the Hindu trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiv, and linking the term of Guna as the creator, activity, preserver, purity, the destroyer, and the recycler, respectively. The Gunas are known as Sattvic, Rajas, and Tamas. The human soul. The human soul consists of the consciousness, and within that consciousness, we have the embedded layers of the three gunas, the sattvic, the rajasic, and the tamasic. We have the 5 elements, and the elements, we have our hearing, touch, vision, taste, and smell. These are all basic elements which permeate to the mind, and thereafter it processes to the intellect and into the consciousness. Now that, in the way, creates the ego. From the ego, we get the sattvic, rajas, and tamas tattva. But it's all interconnected with our 5 senses, which is, our ears, the skin, the eyes, tongue, and the nose. And that's the transition, the subtle transition between the consciousness and this, the self, the ego. As I mentioned before, the Guna Tattva are, as per, we have this example over here, Brahma, who is the creator, Vishnu, who is the preserver, and Shiv, who is, who destroys at the end of the creation. All 3 have been referred with the appropriate tattvas, which is Brahma as Sattvic, Vishnu as Rajogun, and Shiv as Tamogun. There is basically gunas, the quality has been categorized in various schools of Hinduism. And this appears in everything, literally everything in the universe. Sattva is the quality of balance. Rajas is the quality of passion, activity, and sometimes also self-centeredness, egoism, moment, and dynamism. Sattvic, sattva. It also relates to construction, creativity, positivity, peacefulness, and virtue. Tamas, the quality of imbalance, disorder, chaos, anxiety, negativity, dullness, inactivity, and many more. In the Indian philosophy, these qualities are not considered as present in either or as fashion. Rather, everyone and everything has all 3, only in different proportions and in different contexts. The living beings or substance is viewed as the net result of the joint effect of all these 3 qualities. The Hindu texts refer to the Shakti from the Devi Puran as having the three attributes: Goddess Kali with Tamagun, Goddess Lakshmi with Rajogun, and Goddess Saraswati as Sattvagun. So there are many references to the Puranas. Now, as you can see from the various different aspects of the three materialistic views of the Gunas, the balance of the Gunas of everything and everyone can also change. However, change in one quality faces inertia from two other qualities. Change needs to be internal. External influence or reinforcement as knowledge and force to transform. However, to force to change comes from Rajogun. That is when we actually try and force ourselves to change towards a particular gun. The Sattva gun empowers one towards harmonious and constructive change, while Tamas gun checks or retards the process. The different schools of Hinduism also accept this in general. They have different views on the categories. However, the different schools, we haven't touched that subject. I'll just tell you is Nyay, Vaisheshika, Gangesh, and a couple of others. But we're not going to go into that aspect of this. The Bhagavad Gita, which is a great wisdom scripture, as we know, can be considered also as the Bible of Hinduism or more. It speaks of these three gunas, the three basic characteristics or attributes that exist in all things, including your body and your mind. Sattvic, Rajas, and Tamas are the basic components of creation. The whole universe is bound by the three elements. They are very subtle elements and beyond the reach of the five senses. These three elements can only be realized via the six senses. However, these elements are present in our daily practices, and they are part of our nature, whether we talk about the colors, habits, food, dreams, thoughts, clothes, music, the taste for music, what kind of music you like, sleeping, bathing, worshipping, eating, walking, talking. All of these activities are reflected in each and every part of the life and in the universe too. Every object of the universe comprises of these three elements. For example, we have over here the colors. The colors as dictated over here. The Sattvic is mainly white and a synthesis of all the colors. The Rajas is the different colors, although traditionally represented as red. And the Tamas, the absence of all colors. As you can see from this chart, basically the different kind of examples which relate to what guna a person has. You know, person with a dull mind falls under the tamas category. Person with a calm mind falls under sattva. Person with an extroverted mind falls under rajas. And you can, look at the awareness factor. The awareness, meaning the consciousness, how enlightened we are. The sattvic always reveals the awareness. The rajas always hides awareness. And the tamas also hides awareness or is not even aware of awareness. A tamasic mind is dull, sluggish, lazy, and prone to depression. A rajas mind is got anger, anxiety, frustration, aggression, boredom. These are the simple elements related to this guna. And a sattvic mind is present, wise, happy, and free of desire. Tamas interprets experience as fear. Sattvagun interprets experience as truth, satya. And Rajas interprets experience as desire. The best part about the sattvic gun is it allows proper discrimination. They can understand from the right to wrong, good and bad, etc. Rajas, however, it's a great motivator to accomplish things in the world. A lot of things you need that Rajasic guna in order to complete certain works in a particular way, especially in this world. However, tamas is, it allows one to rest and it's just lazy and, they get lost in the world basically. The whole cosmos is under the impression of the three elements, Triguna Tattva. Now, when we look at the Bhagavad Gita, there are two ways to look at the topic of the three gunas. We can look at them philosophically, or we can study them like the Yoga Sutras, or talk about the Mahagunas of Prakriti, the nature, and discuss how they play in the manifestation of the universe. It's very interesting, but however, the most important part is the different levels of consciousness of the Sattvic, Rajas, and Tamas. Sri Vallabhacharya ji of the Pushtimarg sect, in his philosophy, he has also stated and quoted Srimad Bhagavad Puran, the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran, and he has quoted of the different gunas of the devotees, and they're all interlinked. It's three gunas, but he has made further fragments. And as per every individual, nobody is any one particular or holding any one particular gun. Everybody is interconnected with, for example, a person could be sattvic, rajasic, rajasic. A person could be rajasic, sattvic, tamas, etc. So, about 12 variations. And that is for the devotees and their devotion to Krishna. He has also made one more reference to another gun, which is very, very exclusive to the devotees, and that is nirgun, one who does not contain any of these three gunas. However, today's subject, I just wanted to share that information with you, but we're not going to take that. When we do go to the Puranas, or we may come across it in the Bhagavad Gita, then we'll address it there. So if you can see in the diagram, the kind of sattvic person could be, very happy, compassionate, blissful, lots of self-control, satisfaction, absolute non-violence, fearlessness, and surrendering to the Almighty or whatever they're following. The Rajasic, which is the mode of passion, has got arrogance, ego, restlessness, anxiety, anger, impatience, fear, uncontrollable desires, and distress. However, the Tamasic, which lives in mode of ignorance, as you can see from the diagram, it actually reflects just that. Tamasic is laziness, tiredness, depression, lethargy, ignorance, apathy, inertia, illusion, and extreme ego. So that's the kind of character or characteristic qualities of a tamasic guna person. This also reflects in the kind of food that we have. This is very, very important because in Gujarati there's a saying, "An evo otkar." Basically, Jevu an evu man. That's another one. Whatever you eat, your mind is a reflection of what you eat. So these are basically these are been there for many years in our Tamasic, what they actually denote. The personality traits, obviously, of the sattva component today is, you can say, somebody who's hardworking, conscious, creative, alert, efficient, systematic, and disciplined. These people serve others. This is the modern view I'm talking about. These people serve others without the thought of any gain from others. They never hurt anyone by words and actions intentionally, or they never do. They consume very little quantity of food and consume sattvic food. They live in the nature and live a life without show-off. They love unconditionally. They wake up early in the morning. They love slow music. They love to God and they worship. They give off very positive and healing vibes. And they're very happy and satisfied with life, with whatever the situation. That's the quality of a sattvic person. The personality of a person with greater intensity of Rajasic component is kind of serving others with the purpose of gain and profit. Excuse me. Yeah. They carry themselves very smart. They're clever and energetic personalities. They are very busy in their own affairs. They neither hurt others nor please others. They have a definitive purpose behind their every action, but they do like to show off. Also, if time and work demands. Even love, they do it with a purpose. They like moderate music and the worship with a goal behind this. They're constructive, alert, and full of enthusiasm in life. The personality of a
Jai Shri Krishna, Siti Ben, Jai Shri Krishna.
greater, Jai Shri Krishna, welcome, Mommy. Personality of a person with tamasic element, they always remain in anger and full of ego. They're harsh by nature and hurt others by words and actions. They're very selfish and think only about their profits. They never hesitate in torturing others for their personal pleasures. They consume more food as compared to the people of Rajasic and Sattvic personality. They always want to attract other people for personal gains. They're very, very cunning, selfish, and destructive by nature. And they always give off negative vibes. They remain busy in the gratification of their senses, or at all costs, even if it harms others. They don't care as long as they get what they want. And that's the characteristics of each of these personality, whether it's sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. Now we come to the other element, that is food. As I said, Jevu an evu man in Gujarati, right? Whatever you eat, that's the reflection of your mentality. Now, the categories of the food are defined also in Ayurveda. And the sort of food that we consume in this, well, in current state of world, it also, takes us to how our gunas change. If your diet changes, we have scope of changing as well. The kind of foods that sattvic person tends to have, or if you're trying to change a quality, is foods that are fresh, wholesome, and unprocessed, unrefined, very juicy, water-rich, and foods that are freshly cooked and lightly seasoned. These are sattvic in nature. Sattvic food is living food with life energy inside it. It is food straight from nature with no or minimal human interference. Then we come to the Rajasic food. In the Bhagavad Gita as well, Sri Krishna makes this very visible in the chapter 17, text 8. And he says, food that tastes good and promotes good health, strength, and a pleasant mind is sattvic. Food that is salty, that is over salty, yeah, highly spiced, and it causes illness and depression, that is Rajasic food. They are too bitter, too sour, too salty, too pungent, dry, and hot. They are Rajasic in nature. And they contain foods with excess flavoring of salt and spices. You can see from the diagram, these are just examples of food that we have that are packaged and being sold in the supermarkets as well. And also certain things that we make at home. So the foods, as per Bhagavad Gita again, that is stale and unwanted by others and not fit as an offering, if you're offering in puja or, seva or whatever, you're doing, that comes under tamas nature. This is from the Bhagavad Gita. However, as we can see from the diagram, foods that are stale, eaten after 3 hours of being cooked, also as per Ayurveda, they're rotten meat and fish and foul, bad smelling. These are all tamasic in nature. Tamasic food is dead. When we eat dead food, the same death is transferred to our body in the form of diseases. Therefore, basically, there's also a huge list I have with the complete details of all the foods that fall under these 3 categories. And if anybody would like that, I will forward a sheet of that, or I'll place it in the Vedic Wisdom group at the end of this session. Then we move on to, can we really influence the gunas? How do you do that? Basically, the gifts that you offer to others, given at the right time with nothing expected in return, is sattvic in nature. Gifts given reluctantly or with the aim of gaining a return favor forms a rajasic guna. Gifts given at an inappropriate time or place with disrespect or contempt falls under the tamasic category. The way with which you can approach this path, how can we influence the gunas? We talked about the diet, we talked about the habits, and what we need to do if we want to change the gunas is to transform the tamas tattva. Get rid of as much junk as you can. That's number 1. Number 2, balance the rajas. Cultivate movement in a balanced way. Help you bring your mind, breath, and senses into harmony. That is also creating sattva gunas. Depend on your acquiring something that you want. That is part of rajas gun, but sattva rajas. And when one is preoccupied with fears, grief, and excessive sleep, that without fail falls under tamasic tattva. As per Bhagavad Gita, your happiness, which arises from inner discrimination and increase over the time with what we call joy, inner joy, peace, that is sattvic. However, being overly sensual, sweet in the beginning and poisonous in the end is a rajasic guna. Arising from sleep with lethargy and negligence, and just constantly wishing to run down somebody, or just to eat and then go back to sleep and all that, is basically a highly tamas guna. So to develop sattva, you need to develop peace, joy, and self-awareness. Our body is fed by food, water, and air. Our mind is fed by thoughts, feelings, and the input from the five senses. So, are we feeding our body and the mind with tamas, rajas, or sattva? Now, I want you all to think about this as part of your homework. What are we doing? Are we, going towards tamas, rajas, or sattva? And how do you differentiate that? Well, from my perspective, I'll just add a few pointers so that you can have a good thought about it. Consuming sattvic food is a good start. But this practice goes much beyond this in this modern age. And, the current situation in the world, this Gunas, in order to understand the effects, you have to understand the food you eat, the movies that you watch, the music that you listen to, the people you spend time with, the places you go to. Also, not to forget the websites that you visit, the interests that you pursue, your hobbies, etc. All this, we are a combination of the qualities of our thoughts, actions, and input. Therefore, we need to be conscious about this. However, have a think about this. You can give me examples such as, do you feel more calm, inspired, confident, energetic, or clear when you do a particular, for example, by consuming a particular meal or a movie or a conversation? Or do you feel more tired, confused, restless? Think about all this. I will leave you with that thought, and I will leave you with that homework. It's a very important factor. This will reflect on all that we do from here on, all the subjects that we take. So it's not only for that, but it will also reflect on the journey of your soul. But it's a moment by moment practice. Bear that in mind. Thank you very much.